With 10 races remaining in the 2025 Formula One season, the championship picture is becoming increasingly defined by the consistent dominance of McLaren, leaving rivals Red Bull Racing and Ferrari to play catch-up in a championship battle that now unfortunately appears heavily skewed in favor of the British team. Max Verstappen trails Oscar Piastri by nearly 100 points, with a points average of just over 13 per race, well below the scoring consistency of the McLaren pair, who are regularly accumulating around 20 points per event. The Red Bull racing car continues to demonstrate its strongest performance on circuits that feature a combination of medium and high-speed corners, which inherently favors its aerodynamic characteristics and mechanical balance, forcing Max Verstappen to focus more often on limiting the damage, rather than genuinely fighting for race victories outright. At Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix circuit, the competition has very limited opportunities to make a meaningful impact. Occasional race victories or an internal battle between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris could potentially open doors for rival teams, but those opportunities remain scarce. McLaren's MCL39 car works reliably across a wide variety of circuits, providing both drivers with consistent performance, and the majority of teams have completed their major development updates for this season. Exceptions include some of the midfield outfits, such as Haas and Sauber, which still plan to introduce targeted performance components to gain additional points in the Constructors' Championship. Interestingly, Williams, having invested minimally in development for 2025, continues to defend an excellent fifth place, demonstrating remarkable efficiency, prudent resource management, and strategic consistency in comparison with other midfield teams. At this stage, there is not yet a fierce, aggressive, on-track rivalry between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, in terms of driving duels or psychological pressure. However, if the points gap remains narrow, the McLaren team may inadvertently create circumstances that trigger more competitive and aggressive battles between their two drivers, particularly with the Drivers' Championship now hanging in the balance. McLaren has not won the driver's title since Lewis Hamilton's 2008 championship, and both Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris may be highly motivated to push harder in the coming races, especially if their performances remain closely matched throughout the remainder of the season. Ferrari remains the principal chasing team in the championship, but currently sits too far behind in the standings, with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton occupying 5th and 6th positions, respectively. The Maranello team has 10 races remaining to attempt a return to race-winning form, particularly if the suspension modifications under development provide the performance improvements the SF25 urgently needs. Since the Silverstone Grand Prix, some positive trends have begun to emerge in the performance of the SF25, suggesting that the car could become more competitive during the second half of the season, assuming specific conditions are met and the team manages to optimize setups effectively. Frédéric Vasseur, Ferrari team principal, emphasized that the team has to manage to put everything together, highlighting the delicate balance required to maximize the car's potential in race conditions. At the Hungarian Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc controlled the race for a significant portion of the first half before experiencing a sudden and unexpected drop-off in performance. Engineers have already identified several contributing factors: precautionary power cuts that cost approximately half a second per lap, the influence of front downforce load on the car's balance, and potentially imperfect management of the differential between stints. Combined, these elements still do not fully explain the abrupt pace drop of up to 2 seconds per lap behind Lando Norris, something that was entirely unexpected by Ferrari's technical engineers. The No.16 car driven by Charles Leclerc passed integrity checks for both the underfloor and the chassis, despite earlier concerns regarding the apparent loss of balance during track runs. On-track monitoring will continue, particularly during the free practice sessions at the Dutch Grand Prix, to gather detailed feedback from Charles Leclerc. Meanwhile, although Lewis Hamilton experienced a relatively difficult first half of the 2025 Formula One season, recent adjustments in car setup, as well as refinements to his driving approach, suggest that he is theoretically closer to being able to extract the maximum performance from the SF25. Although the maximum downforce wing chosen by Lewis Hamilton in Hungary was ultimately not optimal for that circuit's characteristics, the team expects to optimize his preferences and setup choices in the near future. For the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, both drivers are expected to utilize the Hungary specification wing from Charles Leclerc's car, in order to maximize aerodynamic efficiency, improve consistency, and ensure both cars are operating within a similar performance window. While the 2025 SF25 continues to evolve and provide valuable data, the main focus of the Ferrari engineers and technicians is now firmly on preparing for the 2026 Formula One season. Following the summer break, aerodynamic development is set to intensify under the guidance of Ferrari's aerodynamics chief, Diego Tondi, following substantial modifications to the front-end design of the car. The next generation of Ferrari cars will be entirely new, featuring a completely reimagined approach to both aerodynamics and suspension design, aimed at providing a major step forward in competitiveness and efficiency. Technical director Loic Serra has outlined a radical shift in design philosophy for his first true Ferrari project. The 2026 car will feature a revolutionary suspension design that effectively dictates the overall geometry, mechanical balance, and aerodynamic behavior of the vehicle. One of the key objectives is to achieve reduced deformation under lateral load with the new front tires, directly addressing one of the historical limitations of Ferrari's cars in previous seasons. This approach is intended to improve overall efficiency, optimize downforce distribution across the chassis, and better integrate the characteristics of the next-generation power unit, ensuring the car performs consistently across a variety of circuits. The integration of this new suspension geometry with the aerodynamic package is absolutely critical for the team. Ferrari aims to maximize aerodynamic efficiency while maintaining stability through high-speed corners, which has been a known weakness of the SF25 in the 2025 season. Loic Serra and Diego Tondi are collaborating closely to ensure that the 2026 car achieves a harmonious balance between mechanical grip and aerodynamic performance. Ferrari engineers and technicians are also exploring innovative airflow management solutions, including optimized turning vanes, redesigned floor edges, and updated bargeboard concepts. These developments are intended to enhance downforce levels without unnecessarily increasing drag, providing a more efficient overall aerodynamic profile. For Ferrari, 2026 represents a major gamble and an extraordinary opportunity to rebuild competitiveness from the ground up. With McLaren firmly in control of the current Drivers' and Constructors' Championships, the improvements and innovations introduced to the SF25 and the next-generation car are not just essential for fighting in the present season, but are critical for laying the foundation of a car capable of consistently challenging at the very front of the grid. Early testing suggests that by integrating these aerodynamic improvements with the next-generation power unit, Ferrari could achieve significant gains in both on-track performance and tire management, providing the drivers with a more predictable and competitive package. In summary, although the 2025 Formula One season continues to present significant challenges for Ferrari, the Maranello-based team is actively using every opportunity to close the performance gap, optimize car setups for both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, and prepare for a crucial leap forward in 2026. The SF25 remains a platform for development and experimentation, providing engineers with insights that will inform the design of the next-generation car. The real revolution, however, lies ahead, with a vehicle that combines innovative suspension geometry, advanced aerodynamic efficiency, and full integration with a new power unit. This approach is expected to usher in a new era of competitiveness for Ferrari, allowing the team to challenge the frontrunners consistently and restore their position among the elite of Formula One.